It's now confirmed that the Blackhawks have been eliminated from playoff contention. Who do you think is next to go? Well, welcome back, hockey fans, to another episode of the Pucked Up Podcast. I am Danger. And today I'm joined by Chris, the no longer bald one, but still super spoonable, and Maul, our resident Canadian, and more funny things to come, I'm sure. We are without our fearless D, because she's on vacation. So I hope that she is enjoying life.
She's enjoying drinking at a wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best part about weddings, bro.
Precisely. We're diving into another jam-packed episode this week with some PWHL news, some signings, contract extensions rather, and the big discussion of who we think will win the wildcard race. Today's show sure will be a beauty, eh? Let's jump right on into it. Chris, since D is gone, you have the PWHL updates for us, correct?
We are going to try to not disappoint, dearest
You got
D.
it, buddy.
Yeah,
you got
we
it.
can't disappoint
You got it.
D.
I
We
believe
do
in
have
you.
Although we can disappoint her a little bit, and then maybe she won't ever leave us again.
One can only hope. But
Right.
we did have our first ever Michigan goal in the PWHL.
That's crazy.
Which
They had
was,
to be the last team to score a goal, right?
Yeah, right. I was like, this is the craziest shit. So,
Yeah.
So for those that weren't aware, what was this? All right, yeah. So for those that weren't aware, on Saturday night, the New York Sirens and Ottawa Charge played words. They played in the Prudential Center in New Jersey, and one of the coolest situations. If you guys have never seen a Michigan goal, they're awesome. But it was so fitting that the person to score it was Michigan native and New York Sirens forward Abby Roque. It was badass. It was their first goal of the game. They were down 3-0 at that point in the third period. They ended up unfortunately losing 5-2. But listen, if you're losing with a little bit of style, it feels a little easier.
Right.
I'm obviously, as a Ducks fan, I'm used to seeing that sort of goal being scored because we have Trevor Zegras, who's done it like 7 or 8 times at this point.
Right.
It is one of the coolest things ever. For those that aren't familiar, it's when you pick the puck up with your stick blade and fling it into the top corner of the net, much like a resemblance to a lacrosse goal. It was done by Mike Legg in 1996 in the NCAA tournament for the University of Michigan, hence why it is called the Michigan. It's real cool. ESPN posted it. It was all over SportsCenter. I believe it was on the top 10. The PWHL. It's everywhere on social media. So if you guys haven't seen it, absolutely go see it. Also, shout out to the PWHL because they are doing a Pride Month, or not Pride Month, but a Pride celebration with a special edition Unity logo honoring LGBTQ plus identity, resilience, and community through art. They have a beautiful.
Nice. I said very nice.
Oh yeah. They have a beautiful whole logo for it, which you can see on screen now. The PWHL is proud to celebrate Pride with Unity game activations across all 6 teams, including the unveiling of a special edition Unity game logo designed by Hamilton, Ontario's based artist Eli, a queer and transgender creative whose work is deeply rooted in the themes of identity, resilience, and self-expression. Each game, presented by Elf Cosmetics, will celebrate the LGBTQ plus community through special programming, in-game tributes, and partnerships with local and national LGBTQ plus organizations. So they've already started this initiative with last Saturday for the New York Sirens. March 30th will be the Minnesota Frost. April 1st will be the Montreal Victoire. Boston Fleet will host it April 2nd. Ottawa Charge will get it April 26th, and April 29th will be the Toronto Scepters. Obviously, this is an initiative to help grow equality through sports. With the LGBTQ plus community being very prevalent in the PWHL, there are a couple players on a couple teams that are married. And for those of us that are a part of the community, that's awesome to see that they're really leaning into that heavily.
Mhm.
I don't know, what do you guys think on that, especially with the kind of climate of the world right now? Like, how big of a deal do you think that is?
Oh, I think it's huge in the sense that it's a positive thing, with how much negativity there is in the world, pretty consistently, especially when it comes to those populations. But um, I think it's awesome. I'm proud to see it being celebrated as frequently and as awesomely as it is.
I think it's fantastic because it is another reason why, in my opinion, hockey is the dominant sport.
Right.
Because across both the NHL and the PWHL, they're taking a firm stance on the absolute removal of hate and anything like that. And it's all about love,
Mhm.
positivity, and the sport.
Well, the NHL
Everything
didn't
else stays out of
exactly.
it.
They've haven't exactly proven that yet.
But
They had all
but
that
but
shit that happened last year.
I
Right.
mean, yes,
But
but
it's a start.
It
it's
is a
it's
start.
positive in
That's
the moving in the right direction, right? And it's one of
yeah.
those things where it's hard. It's not that it should be a difficult thing, but something that's been around as long as the NHL, you're going to get the old blood who it takes time for them to buy on and understand that times change.
Yeah, in a lot of
Right.
European countries, it's a very different thing too. So, you've got a
Right.
lot of
Right.
European players.
You know, kind of something similar is I was watching a TikTok last night that said that there was an NHL player who played when helmets weren't mandatory. I can't remember his name. And he was the last person to play his whole career without a helmet. That ended in like 1998. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like that proves that the old guard, it takes them time to understand that things change. And I think that the PWHL universally accepting it dominates the fact that this is how it needs to be for the progression
Greg
of human
McTavish,
rights,
by the way.
and I think
Oh,
that that's
okay.
fantastic. But yes, Greg
Yeah.
McTavish,
Yeah.
he was the
Yeah.
last player to um he refused to wear a helmet
He was the last
because
player
he said,
grandfathered into that
Well, he
rule.
was the last one to get grandfathered in that
yeah,
didn't adopt it. Yeah.
and he, I
But
mean
I
he,
remember when they didn't wear helmets.
but
Yeah,
that's
because it
but
wasn't a
Or
and,
the
mandatory
and
people
rule
that
until
got
like
grandfathered in.
the mid
Yeah.
which is
90s
crazy that like I can't
or early
imagine. I mean,
90s.
you
Right?
know,
How
Well, that's like
dangerous it is
visors.
without a
Think about visors. There are two players
Yeah.
left
yeah.
in the NHL that are grandfathered in that don't have to wear a visor, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So
But
Yeah.
similar but not at the same time. I think that this sets an example and a precedence and is going to be more fuel to the fire to the NHL to like, hey, cut the shit, get on board, and let's push positivity. So
let
I'm
the
all
women
for
be
it.
Right.
your let the women be your guide.
Yes, take,
Follow their
take,
Absolutely.
lead.
yes. And you know what? There's other things that the PWHL is doing that the NHL should pay attention to. And we've talked about it on prior episodes. It's like, work together, focus on
I
making the
Mhm.
sport dominant.
That's been my
Right.
thought. Work
Right.
together. That's the only way that everything succeeds. You don't need to be a competition. You need to be friends.
Right.
Speaking of, I think it is time for us to get into our PWHL 3 stars of the week. As
Yes,
always, it is
please.
presented by Shark Beauty Canada. Our 3rd star of the week is Susanna Tapani, a forward from the Boston Fleet. Tapani was a force in the Fleet's only game of the week, a 3-2 shootout victory over Montreal in the Songa Center on Tuesday. The 32-year-old from Finland set up Fleet captain Hillary Knight's power play goal in the closing minute of the first period to open the scoring. Then Tapani scored to provide a 2-1 lead in the second period and collected the decisive goal in the 6th round of the shootout, helping Boston to extend its point streak to 9 games. The shootout goal was Tapani's 3rd in 6 attempts this season and her 2nd shootout winner. With 5 multi-point games this season and a 10 goal, 5 assist on the campaign, Tapani is 3rd on the team when scoring behind Alina Mjolnir and Hillary Knight. Tapani has needed only 49 shots to score her 10 goals. That is crazy. A 20.4 shooting percentage. That is 2nd in the PWHL to Minnesota's Brooke McQuagey, who's got 7 goals on 32 shots, which again, a 21%, almost 22% shooting percentage is nuts.
Right.
Garfield, I love you, but you are in the way. Please get down. Thank you. Our 2nd star is Kristen Campbell, goalie for the Toronto Scepters. We love us some goalies around here. The Scepters snared a pair of 2-1 triumphs last week as Campbell backstopped both of them, making 27 saves against New York on Wednesday and adding a season-high 32 on Sunday, defeating Montreal at Place Bell before a sellout crowd of 10,172. Fuck yeah.
I'm all for that. I love when they sell out.
Dude, same.
Yeah.
In the latter victory, which pulled Toronto within 3 points of first place victoire, both teams have 5 games remaining. Sorry, that season's almost over as well. Campbell made 17 stops in the 2nd period and held victoire off the score sheet until Marie-Philippe Poulin connected on a power play goal with 4:45 left in the 3rd period. Who is shocked about that? It was eight consecutive outings in which Campbell had permitted 2 goals or fewer. She also leads the PWHL with 8 outings of 1 goal or fewer. Her save percentage in the 8 outings since February 14th is .951. And for the season,
Wow.
Campbell's .918 save percentage is tied with teammate Reagan Kirk for 3rd in the PWHL behind the .93 by Boston's Aaron Frankel, and the .932 behind, Montreal's Anne Renee Desmond's. Dude, these numbers, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And our first star is a name that we've had on a few times, but Teresa Venisova, who is a forward for the Ottawa Charge. Venisova scored 3 goals in an 8-minute 44-second span at the Prudential Center on Saturday, became the first player in PWHL history to record 2 hat-tricks in a season, as the Charge collected a 5-2 victory over the New York Sirens. Venisova opened the spree by barging into the slot and tipping in... Jesus, I'm like dying over here. Let's try that again. Venisova opened the spree by barging into the slot and tipping in Anita Tezhrilova's right point shot at 15:11 of the 2nd period. Just 2 minutes and 18 seconds later, Venisova grabbed her own rebound and skated behind the net, pulling in the front for a 10-foot shot shot past Corinne Schroeder from the goalie's left. Venisova completed her 2nd hat-trick in 9 games by converting a rebound at 3 minutes 55 seconds at the 3rd period. She finished with a career-high 9 shots while notching her 5th multi-point game of the season. Her hat-trick matched a similar performance in an 8-3 rout of Minnesota, February 13th, with a 13-goal, 4 assists on the season. Venisova leads the Charge in goals and points with 17. After taking just 42 shots in 23 games last season, she has 72 in 24 contests this season, the 6th highest total in the PWHL.
Wow.
That doesn't really change much on our 3-star standings.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just going to say, she really just said, like, hold my beer. I'm going to prove that, I'm the only one that the team needs on the ice right now.
You want me to step up?
I got this.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Watch this.
Yeah. Easy. Done.
Again,
that's amazing.
Marie-Philippe Poulin scoring an important goal again. Are any of us shocked?
Yeah. No,
She is
not at all.
my pick for the MVP this season. I'd be shocked if she doesn't win it. Well,
Right.
I hope I did D proud on the PWHL.
I hope so. But you're not done yet
I'm not
doing D proud, because now you have to give us the men's 3 stars of the game. Or game of the
Indeed.
week.
In the
You know
week.
what I mean.
So we will transition over to our 3 stars of the week for the men, as always presented by Geico. Our 3rd star of the week is Dylan Holloway, a center for the St. Louis Blues. Holloway ranked 2nd in the NHL with 1 goal, 6 assists in 4 contests to help the Blues extend their win streak to 6 games dating back to March 15th, as they climbed into the final wild card position in the Western Conference. He opened the week with consecutive multi-point outings, registering 3 assists in a 4-1 triumph over the Nashville Predators March 18th, and 1 goal, 1 assist in a 4-3 victory against the Vancouver Canucks on March 20th. Holloway then picked up 2 assists across a pair of 4-1 wins. Okay, I did read that right. 1 in each game versus the Chicago Blackhawks and the Predators again. The 23-year-old Holloway, who has compiled 3 goals and 8 assists during the 7-game point streak dating back to the March 13th, sits 3rd on St. Louis with 23 goals, 35 assists, equaling to 58 points through 72 games this season, after totaling 9 goals and 9 assists across first 2 NHL campaigns. Holloway has stepped up.
Yeah.
Our 2nd star, Jack Eichel, someone who we've seen on this list a bunch, center for the Vegas Golden Knights. Eichel led the NHL with 2 goals and 5 assists in 3 appearances to also power the Golden Knights to a perfect week. He collected a pair of assists in a 5-1 victory against the Boston Bruins on March 20th. Eichel followed that with a 1 goal, 3 assists, his 11th career 4-point performance, 2nd of the season. Also, his last one was October 9th against Colorado when he had 4 assists in a 6-3 triumph over the Detroit Red Wings, March 22nd. He capped the week off with his 39th career game-winning goal in a 4-2 decision versus the Tampa Bay Lightning on March 23rd. The 28-year-old Eichel places 5th in the league with a career-high 23 goals, 64 assists, make 87 points throughout 69 total games this season. He also sits among the top 2024-2025 performers in power play assists, ranking 2nd with 29. Assists, he's tied for 3rd. Power play points, he's tied for 3rd with 33. Even strength assists, he's tied for 9th with 34. A plus-minus of plus 30. And even strength points with 52. Jack.
Wow.
Jesus. And our 1st star, who I know our dearest Danger is very thrilled with, but it is Philip Gustafsson, the goalie for the Minnesota Wild.
Hell yeah.
This is nuts. Gustafsson made 82 saves on 84 shots, going 3-0 with a .67 goals against average and a .976 save percent average, with 1 shutout to propel the Wild to a perfect week. He turned aside 28 shots, including the last 26 he faced, in a 3-1 victory over the LA Kings on March 17th to halt his opponent's winning streak at 5 games. Gus then earned his 11th career shutout and 5th of the season with 34 saves in a 4-0 triumph over the Seattle Kraken on March 19th. He closed the week with 20 stops, extending his home shutout streak to a franchise record 161 minutes 49 seconds before allowing the 3rd period goal in a 4-1 win against the Buffalo Sabres on March 22nd. The 26-year-old Gustafsson has played 48 total games this season. He's got a nice record, 25 wins, 15 losses, 4 overtime losses, ranking among the top 10 in the NHL. In shutouts with 5, he's tied for 2nd. Save percentage, he's tied for 5th with .917. Saves with 1,299. Wins with 28. Shots against 1,416. Goal against average, which is a 2.48. games started, he's tied for 10th with 48, and minutes played 2,832 minutes 38 seconds.
Yeah,
That's
So
a lot of
big
play
shout
time.
out.
Holy cow.
That is a
it really
yeah.
is.
You're playing 60
Jeez.
minutes, bro.
He has been pretty consistent this season, and just continues to get better, which is what you would expect. But yeah,
Well, and it's
he's
what you
killing
hope,
it.
especially losing Fleury at the end of the year.
Right.
Right.
Someone's got to take
good.
that mantle and,
Someone's
he's
gotta be the
proven
guy.
it.
Right. And Gus has said before that he really just relishes in the opportunity to soak in as much information and skill from Fleury as possible.
Oh
and
my God,
so,
you get a chance to learn from
for the-
one of the best goaltenders to ever play the game.
Right.
You take advantage of that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Even though with Fleury, you have to deal with the pranks and the sassiness.
But that's fun.
You still
That shows why
Right.
everyone loves him. Is he has personality.
Facetious. But
You know.
right.
Which is also something that you can learn from him. How to become a fan favorite. Not just a Minnesota Wild favorite, but a NHL fan favorite.
Which is
Right.
which is where Fleury's at this point in his career. So
Oh yeah. I think my grandma was one of the only people that I knew in my personal life that wasn't a big Fleury fan. She respected his skill, but she remembers watching him start his career and then be this hot shot, and so she wasn't thrilled when the Wild signed him, and here I am yes, finally, because he's just fun to watch. I say that all the time. I love players that are fun to watch.
Oh, I agree.
I spent too much time watching my kid play sports that was not entertaining enough. But well, thank you very much for that update. Good highlight on some players that we haven't talked about a ton this season, which is always fun too.
I'll tell you, I benefited this last week from Dylan Holloway's big explosion on fantasy wise. So
yeah. Not that you were hurting fantasy wise.
Right.
No, but
way to struggle.
I know. It's so difficult.
You really got the feeling that the rest of us feel until this week. But we have one new fine and no new suspensions, which I usually cover later in the show. But I wanted to talk about this one. St. Louis Blues forward Zach Bolduc.
Bolduc, yeah.
Bullock. Okay.
Bolduc.
He was fined the maximum allowable under the CBA of $2,248.26 for cross-checking Nick Blankenburg from the Nashville Predators in the game on Sunday the 23rd in St. Louis. He was assessed a major penalty and game misconduct for the cross-checking. So I didn't get to see the video for it, but being that he was fined the maximum and given the, game misconduct.
Oh, it was 100% uncalled for.
Yeah. So what happened was at center ice, Robert Thomas of the Blues and Nick Blankenburg, their skates got caught up, and then Bolduc came over while Blankenburg was on the ground, on the ice face down, just multiple times going down and cross-checking him. There is zero excuse for that behavior as a professional athlete, and 100% agree with that fine. I would have been okay with at least a game suspension too, because again, what's the one thing we always talk about? You're a pro athlete. You are a role model. Be a fucking role model.
Yeah. And of course, we recognize that things can accidentally happen, and then you should get fined or suspended too. I just hit the nerve in my elbow, and
and it's not funny.
The old funny bone, eh?
No, but it was just literally the nerve. My elbow was on there. Anyway, it's not important. But we can recognize that things happen accidentally, and then you still, have to answer to them. But when it's a clear-cut, intentional thing too, or uncalled for, things just being taken too far, which we see too.
It happens.
And I get it. There's a lot of testosterone out on the ice and things get heated. But like you said, you need to recognize that you have a lot of eyes on you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't one of those situations where oh, I got caught up in the moment and this and that happened. No, you very much so were aware the entire time of what you were doing. And there is no excuse for that. Like, at all. There is zero excuse for that. Do better is really what we always say.
Precisely. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the next few games or the next time they play each other.
I'd say I don't know if they play each other
sounds
again.
like that. I wouldn't be okay, which is fair.
If
I was just thinking I wouldn't be surprised if there would be retaliation for it.
Yeah. No,
which I don't always agree with either, but
no, but given the circumstances, I can understand.
Absolutely.
Actually, let me do some research on that real fast because I'm actually curious.
Do it. You won't.
Do it, pussy.
I double dog dare you.
Doing it right now. Schedule. Ow.
He's touching the butt.
Not that butt.
Yes, they do play them again on the 27th. So as of time of
That'll
recording,
be a game to watch.
So just another week. Yeah.
Playing on the 27th. That's the last time I think they play them for the season. It is. That's their last meeting. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Bolduc, buckle up, Buttercup. You might get your ass whooped.
Right? Wow. Maul, will you talk to us a little bit about the NCAA bracket?
Absolutely will, because boy, what a wild and crazy tournament this has been so far.
I know you and I both.
I sound different than I normally do because I've lost my voice. Because on Thursday and Friday of last week, I went down to Boston to watch the UMaine hockey team play Northeastern and UConn and beat both of them to win Hockey East championship for the first time in 21 years, which is absolutely
it's been a long time
wild.
Since they've got a conference championship.
Very, very long time. So this is fantastic to see for them. The whole state of Maine supported the hell out of them, me included. It was fantastic, and now we get to move on to the NCAA Division I Men Hockey Tournament, famously known as the Frozen Four.
Well, it's the game down at the bottom, yeah.
Well, it's going up to the Frozen Four, but it's more commonly known as the Frozen Four tournament. So currently we have 16 teams competing. We have Boston College, Bentley, Providence, Denver, Western Michigan, Minnesota State, and then Minnesota, Massachusetts, Maine, Penn State, UConn, Quinnipiac, Michigan State, Cornell, Boston University, and Ohio State. This is going to be a bloodbath because every single one of these teams puts out and they fight hard for it.
I'm so sad. Both Connecticut universities that I cheer for are playing each other to open. And I'm like,
which
why
is
are you gonna
wild.
Do this to me? You can't make me choose between UConn and Quinnipiac. I'm gonna choose UConn. It's just my loyalty.
Right?
Yeah, which is fair.
It's weird how they do the seeds on where they pick which team goes where, because it's like, what is it? No, I guess it makes sense. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. Never mind. Scratch that. I'm a dumbass. All right. So the first round starts March 27th. So that will be 2 days from time of recording. So calendar. That'll be yesterday was the first round of the tournament. You have Boston University versus Ohio State. You have Western Michigan versus Minnesota State. Why did they put it so weird right there? Anyway, then you have what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Why do they have that? Minnesota versus Western Michigan. Why do they have that look so weird in the friggin'
Minnesota
thing?
State,
Anyway,
Western Michigan.
Yeah, and then you have Michigan State versus Cornell and Minnesota versus UMass. Yep. Today, the day the show is released, we have Boston College versus Bentley, UConn versus Quinnipiac, Providence versus Denver, and Maine versus Penn State.
Wow.
The tournament is going to go until When's the last game of the tournament? The last game of the tournament is
12th.
April 12th. The second round will be March 29th and 30th. The semifinals will be April 10th, so the boys will get a little bit of a break. And then the championship will be on April 12th. Last year's winner was Denver. Before that, it was Quinnipiac. And I will be honest, looking at the past 3 winners, they all share one thing in common in their stats. They all won over 30 games in the regular season, or 30 games in the season.
Wow.
Taking that into consideration, looking at this bracket, there is only one team that has 30 games won in their season, and that is Western Michigan.
Interesting.
Will that play into them potentially taking it all the way? I don't know. But the rest of these teams look pretty balanced out. 26 wins, 23, 21, 29. Denver's really close to it. But Western Michigan is the only one that has that 30-game stat. And the last 3 winners of this tournament have all won over 30 games.
Wow.
Is it going to go to Michigan State? I don't know. It'll be cool to see.
Okay.
I would obviously love to see Maine go all the way. Chris would love to see, UConn.
I have 2 options with
I
the
was
2
just saying,
different
yeah.
Minnesota teams.
I'm like,
was like,
I'm
yeah,
like
you got
Danger. I got
both
2 different
Michigans.
options.
I only
Yeah.
get one. Maine is so small. We get one, right? And we just have to roll with it.
So small.
Um,
You could fit like 2 of my state into Maine.
Yeah, but population-wise, isn't Connecticut bigger than Maine?
I think Connecticut's way more densely populated than Maine.
The
My
funny
question
thing,
is,
though, is if UConn wins and Maine wins, we get a friggin' rematch. So will UConn be able to step up and shut Maine out of the Frozen Four tournament where they got shut out of the Hockey East tournament?
here's the question: Do you
knows?
think Cale McCarr will be proud of his little brother at the end of the year by winning the Hobie Baker Award this year?
Absolutely. I
Because
mean,
Cale won it in 2019, which, for those that don't know, the Hobie Baker Award is similar to the Heisman, similar to the Hart Trophy in the NHL. It is for the most outstanding player in D1 hockey in the country. Some notable names who have won it: Adam Fantilli, who plays in the NHL now for the Blue Jackets; Macklin Celebrini, Cole Caulfield, Cale McCarr, Jimmy Vesey, Jack Eichel, Johnny Gaudreau. There are a lot of players on this list. Ryan Miller, who is a Hall of Fame caliber goaltender. Paul Correa. Like, there are people, like, some of the greatest hockey players ever, and some of the best that we have today have won this award.
mhm.
So I think
Yeah.
it'd be cool for young McCarr. What's his first name again?
Taylor?
Not Kale.
It's not Cale. Cale, what's your brother's name?
Isn't it Taylor? I should know because he plays for Maine.
Taylor. It is Taylor.
Yeah, okay.
thought
I
it
was
was
like,
Taylor.
I'm pretty
Nice
sure. I'm
job.
pretty sure it's Taylor.
Thought it was Taylor. Yeah. So, Mr. Taylor McCarr, do me a favor. Be nice to my team if and when you play them.
Now, I will give a quick shout out to a team that is not on this list. On Thursday night, Maine played Northeastern University, and that game went to double overtime, which was unbelievably wild to be there. And their goalie, his last name is Whitehead. That kid is a brick wall. He took
Yeah, I've heard-
61 shots on goal and blocked 57 of them. I was
Crazy.
sending Chris pictures of the scoreboard, and he goes, "Holy shit!" I think
I was
the
like, hold up,
combined
really?
shots on goal between both teams at the end of that game was
Yeah.
almost 100 shots on goal.
I think it was over
It's
100.
insane.
I want to look, but I'm not going to. But it was a bloodbath. Like, both teams, holy shit, what a wild game that was. So Northeastern, I commented on your guys' Facebook, hold your head high. You guys didn't make the tournament, but you guys put up a hell of a fight, and you almost took Maine out of the tournament. And, with the way they're playing this year, that is a wild thing to be able to do. So I'm excited for this tournament to get kicked off. The Frozen Four is awesome because a lot of the players that are in these colleges have either already been drafted or already been signed to teams or just recently got picked up, which literally at time of recording 30 minutes ago, a player from one of these teams was just picked up. So it's cool because these are going to be the futures, the greats, the goal chasers, the trendsetters. These are the next Ovechkins and Crosbys and stuff like that. So getting to see them play is fantastic. This goes back to what we've said before: support your local teams, support your high school teams, support your college teams. Go out and support. I mean, I got to go to the TD Garden back to back, and my tickets were, I think, $50. And to
Yeah.
get to go watch championship hockey for $50, and I got to see Taylor McCarr. I got to see, NATO's brother. I got to see a whole bunch of really good players. This is where they get their start. Go support them.
My dad and I have talked about going up to University of Connecticut, which UConn really isn't that far from me. It's maybe 45 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And going up there to go see a game because tickets are cheap. I mean, I've been to UConn women's basketball games up there, and those are all reasonably priced. So yeah, definitely go see college hockey. Go support the future stars. If you have an ECHL team, go do that. Just go watch hockey, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking do it. You know you want to. I see you.
Yeah.
I see you thinking about it. Do it.
And here's the best thing about college hockey that I think makes it even better to watch than sometimes the NHL. The players cannot fight each other.
Which, yeah.
So watching them settle their differences and their frustrations on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Or with the cheap shots that they get when the ref turns their head. Fantastic. Because they can't drop gloves. No matter how much they want to, they can't drop gloves. Which is good because this builds what the hell am I looking for? Oh shit, what's the word? This builds rivalries that we see play in the NHL.
Yeah.
When people get put to other teams and they're like, "Hey, fuckface, I can punch you now."
Right.
Guess what? Your chin's open,
awesome.
bitch.
remember that college game 2 years ago? Time to settle up.
Come here, let me learn you how to spell dead man.
But yeah, fantastic to watch because just watching the cheap shots that the players do, because they look over their shoulders, and when mom and dad aren't looking, they friggin' make sure that they let each other know what they really think about what they just did. But it's really good hockey. Go support it, please.
Yeah, and they're a blast, for sure. So, well, big news coming out of the Washington Capitals. I feel a little bit bad that we get to talk about this and Dee's not here for it.
I know, right?
But as of today, Jacob Chychrun signed an 8-year, $72 million contract with the Capitals.
Wow.
Starting next season. For those of you that may have forgotten, he did get traded in the offseason, so he started with the Caps in July. But, that's just a huge contract for the Capitals and for Jacob. It's pretty clear how skilled he is, so I'm not surprised that he pulled numbers like that with a team like the Capitals. But yeah, just what a great contract. For him.
My biggest thing that I'm seeing here when you look at his stats is 65 games. Obviously, he spent a little bit of time injured. 18 goals, 25 assists, 43 points. That's great, a 40-point-a-year guy. But he's got a plus-minus of plus 24. That sort of production on the ice that your defensive line is able to help generate is 100% a factor as to why that team is top 2 in the NHL right now. Adding Chychrun, absolutely. I had said it in the offseason that was a move that was going to single-handedly change the whole defensive prowess of the Caps, and look at what they've done this year, Yeah. So I again, well deserved. Chychrun is only 26, so I mean, there's still so much time.
Got a lot of career left in him.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what he can do with Washington.
Right, me too. I do love the little joke. Somebody with the equipment managers, I would assume, taped a little bit of a cash to the back of his jersey today at warm-ups or practice.
I saw that.
which is just phenomenal. If you haven't seen the
So
picture,
good.
maybe we'll be able to throw it on screen. Otherwise, look for it. It was on the Twitter space. But yeah, super fun. We just love to see teams have fun with each other.
Oh yeah.
Moving on, I have a little bit of sad news for a lot of us. But a guy that I think has played on almost all of our teams as far as show goes, but currently with the Blackhawks, Pat Maroon has announced that this year will be his last. So he's retiring at the end of the season. Kind of stinks that the Blackhawks also have been eliminated already. So, he's only got a few games left. But he did actually say that, he was going to miss the camaraderie with the guys in the locker room in Chicago, which is good to hear because it hasn't always been like that coming out of there. But yeah, big bear of a guy, but I certainly loved when he was with us up until this last year. So,
Yeah.
We wish Patty the best of luck here.
He spent 5 seasons, his first 5 seasons in Anaheim.
Yeah.
I'm a big Pat Maroon guy. I love him.
Yeah.
I know he played for the Wild as well. You guys got him for a year, and I love that Minnesota fans fell in love with him the same way that Ducks fans fell in love with him, just because he's not a 50 point a year kind of guy, but he's a gritty player, and he's gonna give you his all no matter what.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
exactly.
a big Pat Maroon guy, so I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
I'm sad to see him go, but I'm happy that he's gonna take this next chapter in life and probably do something equally as fucking incredible as he did his impact in the NHL.
I am sure. But yeah, so all the best out to him. Sad to see him go, but it's, the older I get, the harder it is for me to watch guys my age retiring. But B, it's like, oh man, like I've spent my adulthood watching a lot of these guys play hockey professionally, and it's just been so much fun. So, next, we're gonna lead it into Maul for a couple of different things. He's got some wildcard updates for us, and then the question of the week. So Maul, I will let you take that away.
Wildcard update. This is going to be a doozy. So, first off, congratulations to the Washington Capitals for being the first and only team so far at time of recording guaranteed a playoff spot. Well deserved. You guys went from 0 to hero from last year to this year, and it's unbelievable to see what a franchise can do when it hits the foundation, figures out what they need to do, and work on it. So, congratulations to.
I just hope they don't win the President's Trophy, because everyone who wins the President's Trophy doesn't win the Cup. So
absolutely. So, also notable shout out. I mean, so the Washington Capitals currently are sitting at 102 points scored for their season.
Yep.
Notable shout out. The Winnipeg Jets are at exactly 100 points. So that's congratulations to both teams for hitting over 100 points this season. Fantastic performance by both. So as of right now, for the Eastern division, we're going to go into the eastern side of the conference. We're going to go to the Atlantic division. We have the Florida Panthers, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Tampa Bay Lightning currently sitting at a comfy lead. Then for the Metropolitan division, Metropolitan, that's the same shit. Division, we have the Washington Capitals, which have already secluded their spot. The Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils. The wild card for Eastern Conference, you have the Ottawa Senators, the Montreal Canadiens, the New York Islanders, New York Rangers, Columbus Blue Jackets, Detroit Red Wings. Why is this hard? Anyway, those 6 teams are all very close to each other in points. I do want to caution the New Jersey Devils. You are on a losing streak right now, and you are 2 points away from losing your spot in the playoffs. Ottawa Senators are hot on your trail.
Ottawa's in the Atlantic, not the Metro. The closest team for New
Oh, so
Jersey to get bumped
be
out.
in the division.
Yeah, so the closest team in the division to bump
sorry.
New Jersey out would be the Rangers, and they're at 70, or not the Rangers and the Islanders, and they're at 74. So they're pretty comfy up there.
They should make this list a little bit easier to read. Anyway, so they're close, because to get in, it's based on points.
Yeah.
So you got to play hard. You got to pay attention because there's a lot of teams. I mean, those 6 teams that I talked about, they're all within 10 points. And with the games and how the games have been going recently, that can change in 2 games. That can change in 1 game. You just because there's 12 games left.
Yeah.
You can't take your gas off. I mean, unless you're the Washington Capitals, go ahead, lose the rest of your games, rest up your players.
They're in. They don't matter.
Let the practice team play. Give them a shot.
Just keep feeding pucks to Ovechkin at this point.
Yes, you've guaranteed your spot. Move on. Relax. Rest up. All right. Over on the Western side of things, in the Central Division, we have the Winnipeg Jets, the Dallas Star, and the Colorado Avalanche all sitting comfy in their 3 seeds. And then for the Pacific, we have the Vegas Golden Knights, the Los Angeles Kings, and the Edmonton Oilers. Runner up for the 6 spots in the Western Division, we have the Minnesota Wild, the St. Louis Blues, the Vancouver Canucks, the Calgary Flames, the Utah Hockey Club, and the Anaheim Ducks.
I wouldn't classify Anaheim in this because they're too far out.
I know. I'm looking at that, but I wanted to give the top 6 because you know what? Miracles can happen. We saw it in 1986?
It genuinely wouldn't happen. This is literally not possible math-wise. Every team ahead of them would have to forfeit, and they would have to win every single game from here on out just to get close.
Hey, crazier things have happened.
But this is a step up from last year. This is a massive improvement from last season. So I'll take it.
And here's the thing: the biggest difference, and the biggest difference between the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference is Western Conference already has 2 teams that are eliminated.
Yeah,
the Chicago Blackhawks and the San Jose Sharks. They don't have a snowball's chance in hell. They can't make it. It's not happening.
The worst teams in the league.
The San Jose Sharks only have 47 points this season. And the Chicago Blackhawks have 51. That is wild.
If you look at their goal differential too, I mean, San Jose's goal differential is at a -77 to where the Chicago Blackhawks is a -61. That is
nuts.
Wild. That is entirely too many goals to give up. You cannot be giving up that kind of goals numbers. That's crazy.
And so with it right now being anyone's game, based on the standings right now, if we had the Stanley Cup playoffs happen today, it would be the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Minnesota Wilds, the Oilers versus the Kings, the Jets versus the Blues, Dallas versus Colorado, Florida versus Ottawa, the Maple Leafs versus the Tampa Bay Lightnings, the Washington Capitol versus hold on, brain farts. The Montreal Canadiens, the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New Jersey Devils. I'm curious to see how that changes. But it's looking pretty good like that, which is fantastic. Because out of all of us here on Pucked Up, Chris is the only one's team. He may do good in fantasy, but he doesn't do good in real life.
I have zero control over how shit the Ducks are.
Seriously, if you guys are looking for a new coach after this season, hire Chris because he does pretty good in fantasy.
Right?
I'll build you a fucking team, boys.
Because it's all the same thing.
Immediately.
Yeah.
So
100%
with that being said, there's still a lot of play that can happen. I mean, with 12 games left, a couple that are happening at time of recording, it can go in any direction, and we don't really know how it could go. But the cool thing is that leads me into the question of the week. With only a handful of games left in the regular season, what team do you think will secure the 4 wild card playoff spots? We'll start with you, Chris.
So, the biggest thing that's important right now, is when you're really going for a wild card spot, momentum and consistency is so key. And right now, if you look at the past 10 games for the 4 teams holding the wild card spot. The only team that has the worst record of them all is the Wild, but they are so far ahead points wise, they can lose a couple games and they'll be fine. The biggest issue is if you go to the Eastern Conference now, New York Islanders are also on a fucking tear, and it just takes one little hiccup by Montreal to completely get knocked out of that spot. I think what we're seeing right now is indicative of what we're going to see. If anything is going to change, I think maybe the Islanders might be able to sneak past, but Columbus kind of just fell off the last couple weeks. I think they lost like 4 in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
And slumps happen in a long season like this, right? But the problem is it's fine when the slump happens in December, January, February. When you start losing games in March, you're putting yourself in a very, very difficult position. I mean, go back a few years ago when the Vegas Golden Knights were the best team in the league, and for a month straight, they lost most of their games. They didn't even make the playoffs. They were the number 1 team, and within a few weeks, they didn't even make the playoffs. So, like, that's the crazy thing about hockey, and like you said, anything can happen, and Murphy's Law is anything bad that can happen will inevitably happen. So it's all about consistency. I mean, I'm so proud of Montreal for the turnaround that they've had this season. I'm a little surprised with Minnesota that they've even gotten to this point, that they're in a wild card spot, but they had a rough patch in the middle of the season. So for them, they're just now the best thing about the situation in Minnesota, and Danger, you could back me up on this, is they put themselves in a position where they were able to slump. Because they were leading the Central at one point. It was a battle between them and Winnipeg until Winnipeg got their shit together, but they were pretty solidly in, and they had a couple months where they just weren't doing well.
Well, for multiple reasons. I mean, a lot of it was the injuries and the big injuries.
Which happen, you know. And they've recovered nicely. Yeah. I think, if anything, if we're going to guarantee a lock out of the 4, I'm locking Minnesota in. Like, that is a confirmed. They are 4 points ahead of St. Louis. So, like, even realistically, the only team that has to worry right now is Colorado, because all it takes is them to lose a couple games and Minnesota to win a couple games, and boom, Minnesota's back up in that 3rd spot. The only team I could realistically see putting any sort of danger to these is the Islanders, because they're 5-2-3 in their last 10 games. So they're doing a great job of yes, you're losing, but you're losing to where you're gaining points. All you got to do is make it to overtime, and you're guaranteed a point, win or lose. So I think that can come into play, but I don't know, man. I feel like this is what we're gonna see for the start of the playoffs, which is big, especially for Montreal and Ottawa, who haven't been there in a bit.
Well, and we're gonna keep that graphic that I have, and I'll share it with you, Danger. I'm sorry I didn't.
No, that's okay.
And when the brackets get confirmed, I want to see how accurate that was, and did we have any upsets? Did we have any underdog stories and stuff like that? Danger, what do you think? I mean, what team do you think will secure?
I do think the Wild are going to secure it, and I'm not as surprised as Chris is that they're here. But I'd be surprised if we make it past the first round, just because the Wild have that history of we make the playoffs, but we don't go.
And,
you know,
and if you have to play Vegas to start off, that's gonna be a tough battle.
Although I'd rather play them than Dallas, because we tend to lose against Dallas every time.
And Dallas is real good this year.
Right. I mean, we did beat them at least once this year.
You think you guys
just
beat
in
them
the last
twice
month.
this year? I think you guys beat them
Yeah,
twice
I
this year.
I just know in the last month when we most recently played them, I think we won one and lost one. But I am a little bit surprised again that Ottawa and Montreal, but I'm happy for them. I think that it's great that they've gotten their shit together this season. But yeah, it's so interesting to see because we are 6 points ahead of Ottawa. Now we're different divisions, of course, but it's just interesting to see the difference in where the points are in each division too.
I think that's a testament to the strength of the Central Division. I mean,
yeah. We're by far in the hardest division.
Your 4th place is well above everybody else. That's impressive. That 85 goals or
Absolutely.
85 points isn't enough to put you in a playoff spot in the
Right.
top 3. So that's a huge boost of confidence for the Central.
Absolutely. So, and I'm always interested to see where the playoffs go. And there's a lot of teams this year that we haven't seen make the playoffs in a while. So I'm happy to see that happen too, because that changes up what that bracket looks like. So, I can't wait for playoffs. I think it's going to be an interesting cup run.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely fantastic hockey this year for it.
Yeah.
For me,
What do you think, Paul?
I think the Eastern side is pretty well set. I mean, I think that the 6 teams that have the spots currently have made a testament and have kind of set a standard that they're not giving up. They're not going to take their foot off the gas. And Washington, the Capitals are proof of that. They've already secured their spot. I think by the time that this video is posted, we'll see another team from the Eastern Division up there with a guaranteed spot. The Senators have doing fantastic, and the Canadians are both kind of close to losing their spots. I kind of agree with Chris that I think the Islanders, I mean, they're kind of on a hot streak right now, so they can very well come up and take that spot. It's very, very close, and it's going to be a battle all the way to the end. But that's the important thing that we've reiterated multiple times is we're about to go into playoff hockey. You can't take your foot off the gas because this is where you make or break your season. I think for the most part, though, Eastern looks pretty solid. Over on the Western side of things, I think the Minnesota Wild have done a fantastic job coming back. They've cemented themselves in that spot, and they're not letting go of it. St. Louis Blues, it could be a toss-up. They're kind of on a huge. I mean, they're their last 10 games, they're 8-1-1. That's unfriggin' believable. They're only tied with that in the last 10 games with the Los Angeles Knights have that same exact record in the last 10 games, and they're in a playoff spot. So you keep doing that, and Bennington keeps showing up like he did for 4 Nations, you will get there. You will keep that spot because there's no other team below them that's anywhere close to that record for the last 10 games.
Here's a fun stat.
As much as I hate Bennington.
If you're talking about turnarounds, right?
Yeah.
Ottawa Senators last year, 255 goals for, 281 goals against. You look at this team this year, 202 goals for, which is a drastic drop off, but 200 goals against. You have given up 81 less goals than you did last season. And do you know, again, we always talk about what's important, goaltending. Who did they get in the offseason? A one Linus Ullmark, who we all know his talent and his ability, and he's one of the top 10 goaltenders in the league. And just that one piece alone, obviously Ottawa made some pretty nice moves in the offseason, but that one piece alone single-handedly changed the entire trajectory of where that team was going to end up this year. Like, when you're giving
Yeah.
up almost 100 less goals, that tells me everything I need to know about that team.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's such a massive change.
Yep. No, you're not wrong.
So
So,
I still think that there's a lot of work to do. It's anyone's game. Like
yeah.
I said, next week's
Except
episode.
for the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
and
It's not
yeah,
the team anymore.
no, yeah. And again, poor Connor Bedard. He's been having a rough
I
couple
feel
weeks.
so bad for him.
He's. I was talking to someone today, and they're like, "Hey, did you see he has to go to anger management now?"
Yeah,
God, does he? I didn't see
I
that.
haven't looked that up, but I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
you know what? That would
That'd
surprise
be
me.
so
I mean,
funny
I'd
if
be
it's
pretty
true.
pissed off too if I was in that team. What's cool is
Yeah.
once the playoffs do officially start, I am going to go back to our first episode of the season, and I'm going to go through D, Danger, and our picks on who we think we're going to make the playoffs, and we're going to see how right we are.
I'm sure we weren't right at all, but
You know
you
what?
go right
Honestly,
ahead.
looking at it, if I remember some of what we said, I think most of us were right about a lot.
Okay.
Okay.
That'd be two cool things. You could do like a mini episode of the comparison side by side with like what actually happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You
put
know?
that together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that would be interesting.
a lot going on. Well, we like I said, we got what 10 to 12 exciting games ahead of us. Um,
Yeah.
the only people that can rest easy are the Capitals. Everyone else, put the pedal to the metal. Don't let off.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how everybody does. And how some of these teams that haven't been in the playoffs in forever, how if they can keep their shit together going into playoffs,
Yeah, can they handle the
or if
pressure?
they just fall
Exactly.
apart. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Exactly.
So
So, yeah, very, very interesting. Now, moving on into the injury report. As I said earlier in the show, we don't have any more injuries, suspensions or fines, minus the one we talked about earlier. So you won't hear that if you were fast forwarding through. But for injuries for Anaheim, as we always start with them, we have Isaac Lundestrom with out day to day with an illness, as is Pavel Mintyukov.
Mintyukov. Yes, you got it.
Yeah, interesting. So they were apparently riding that syphilis bus together.
I think
They
so.
both just have illnesses. Other than that, nobody knew or updates on the other guys that are on longer term. See, I yawned again.
Having a hard
For
time.
Boston, we have Mark Kestelik. Sure. With an upper body injury expected to be out until at least April 1st. Nobody else knew for them. For Buffalo, we have Josh Norris, who is out with an undisclosed injury, expected to be out until April 1st. Sam Lafferty with a groin injury, expected to be out until at least March 27th. Jordan Greenway, also out with a lower body injury, expected to be out until at least March 27th as well. For Calgary, we have Mikael Backlund with an upper body injury, expected to be out until at least March 27th. Other than that, nobody knew there. For Carolina, update on Andrei Svechnikov with that upper body injury. He is now expected to be out until at least March 28th. For Chicago, we have Josh Dickinson with a wrist injury, expected to be out the rest of the season. Sucks for him. I was trying to see if I had any other info on him, but I don't see. I'm sure it was surgical. Yeah, it says wrist injury. Colton Dock is out with an elbow injury, expected to be out until at least April 2nd. And then Alec Martinez, undisclosed, listed as day to day. For Colorado, we have Eric Johnson with a lower body injury, expected to be out until at least March 27th. For Columbus, yawning, would you?
I know. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I'm one of those people that if somebody just says the word yawn, I yawn.
It's a brain trigger. I feel
It's
that.
ridiculous. Yeah. So for Columbus, we have Jake Christensen with an upper body injury listed as day-to-day. Cole Sillinger, the shoulder injury, expected to be out until at least March 28th, and Cole is on IR. For Dallas, we have Niles Lundqvist with a shoulder injury out for the rest of the season. That's not new. That was updated the 18th. I just can't read. Anyway, so no new or updated injuries for anybody on Dallas. For Detroit, we have Peter Mrazek, undisclosed, expected to be out until at least March 27th. Carter Mazur, upper body on IR, expected to be out until at least April 4th. And Eric Gustafsson, undisclosed, expected to be out until at least April 8th. For Edmonton, we see Connor McDavid again with a lower body injury, expected to be out until at least April 1st. Leon Draisaitl, undisclosed, expected to be out until at least April 1st. John Klingberg, also undisclosed, and he is listed as day-to-day. For Florida, update on Brad Marchand, expected to be out until at least March 30th with that upper body injury.
God, that feels so
For
wrong
LA?
to hear. Ugh.
Right? I know.
That just feels so dirty.
It feels dirty to say, too.
Yeah.
That makes
Like,
you feel
what are
any
you
better.
doing there?
It's as awkward as it was for us to adjust to Steven Stamkos playing for the Nashville Predators.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
That's weird still to hear too.
Yeah. I agree.
Hey, Danger.
Yes.
Yawn.
Shut up. Why did I tell you that? Fucking dickhead. I should have never told you that.
That was fucking brilliant.
I had to test it. I had to wait. I had to slip in with the Brad Marchand, and I was like, all right, I got a break. Now I can do it.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
that's
you're
so
a dick. Too funny. I'm glad though, because I've always just said it like that, not knowing if that was true or if it was a subconscious thing. But apparently
now
it's very
we
true.
know.
Now we do know. Okay, for LA, we have Trevor Moore with an upper body injury listed as day-to-day. For Minnesota, couple updates. So we have Jonas Brodin out with a lower body injury listed as day-to-day. Declan Chisholm, who we must have just recently brought up from Iowa, but he is out with a lower body injury, expected to be out until at least March 27th. Marcus Foligno is out with an upper body injury, expected to be out until at least March 27th. Joel Eriksson Ek, lower body injury on IR, expected to be out until at least April 6th. And just to round it out, because why not, we are also hoping that Kirill Kaprizov will be back on or after April 6th as well. Nobody new for Montreal, which bodes well for them. Also, nobody new for Nashville or New Jersey. We're just moving right along the list. For the Islanders, we have Hudson Fasching is out with an illness listed as day-to-day. For the Rangers, we have Sam Carrick is out for personal reasons, listed as day-to-day. And I'm looking if it'll scroll. He is awaiting the birth of his child.
Yay!
So, congratulations to them. I always look when it says personal, because A, I'm a nosy bitch, and B, it tends to be the birth of a child. So, congratulations
Most of the time,
to Sam and
yes.
his family. For Ottawa, we have Nick Jensen with a lower body injury listed as day-to-day. For Philadelphia, we have Garnet Hathaway with an upper body injury, expected to be out until at least March 27th. Rasmus Ristolainen with an upper body injury, expected to be out until at least March 27th as well. For Pittsburgh, who look like they're flipping falling apart, we have Tommy Novak with a lower body injury, expected to be out until at least March 27th. Evgeny Malkin, undisclosed, expected to be out until at least March 27th. as is Emil Bemstrom. Is also undisclosed, listed as day-to-day. Malkin didn't take the ice for warm-ups today either, which is where they're kind of pulling.
I mean, their season's over, so I don't,
Yeah, basically. And then for Bemstrom, this says that he is good to go as of an hour ago. So,
Oh, good.
Emil Bemstrom will be playing tonight. For San Jose, we have Vincent Desharnais.
Desjardins.
Of course it's Desjardins. All right, Vincent Desjardins. Upper body listed as day-to-day. Mark Edward Vlasic. Upper body listed as day-to-day. Henry Thurn. Update on him with that upper body injury. He is now expected to be out until at least April 3rd. For Seattle, we have Chandler Stevenson, undisclosed, listed as day-to-day. And let me see if I can get any further info there. Upper body injury is what it says. He left in the game against Minnesota on Wednesday last week, and then didn't suit up on Saturday against the Oilers. So he did skate apparently Monday in a non-contact sweater. So hopefully it's nothing long-term for him. For St. Louis, we have Pavel Buknevich. Illness listed, or with an illness, expected to be out until at least March 27th. Nobody new for Toronto. For Utah, we have an update on Robert Bortuzio with a lower body injury on IR, expected now to be out until at least March 30th. For Vancouver, we have Philip Chittle with a concussion, expected now to be out until at least April 2nd. Niles Hoglander, undisclosed, expected to be out until at least April 2nd. And Elias Pettersson, undisclosed, expected to be out until at least April 2nd.
One of two Elias Petterssons.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah, this just says Hoglander exited Saturday's game against the Rangers with an injury, didn't participate in Sunday's practice. They don't for sure know what he's dealing with injury-wise. And then, let's see if there's any more info on Pettersson. Yeah, it doesn't say for him either. For Las Vegas, update on Raphael Levely. Is that how we said last week? I don't remember.
Lavoie.
Upper body. Lavoie? Okay.
Lavoie.
On IR, expected to be out until at least March 28th. Shea Theodore, update on his arm injury. On IR, expected to be out until at least March 25th. Thomas Hurdle with a shoulder injury, now expected to be out until at least April 1st.
That fucks my fantasy
Nobody
team.
knew. Yeah. For Washington. And for Winnipeg, we have Neil Pionk. It's spelled like Pionk, and I like that. Lower body, expected to be out until at least April 3rd. And Gabriel Velarde with an upper body injury, expected to be out until at least April 7th. So that is what I have there.
I saw it last night. But A1 Gabriel Landeskog has skated in his 4th straight practice with the Colorado Avalanche. So that is spectacular news.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is, not been updated since March 3rd, but he is expected to be out until at least April 17th as of right now.
They're hoping to get him back for the playoffs.
They're hoping. Yeah. Which would be huge. And it makes my thumbnail for last week not a liar.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's
so
fuck
you to whoever said to change it. You
change
your fucking
and
attitude.
I don't know if that's what it was or the design of it, but that was the first one I've ever made. It'd be nice.
And if you're gonna comment, okay, you could at least follow and subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you fuck
And then
with
he can
Danger,
shit
you
talk
got to
us.
deal with us, Maul and I. Okay, remember that.
Yeah.
And D's not here, but D's the scarier
dog's
one out of all of us.
Yeah, D is the scary one. What people don't realize about D is she's what, like 5'11"
D is like
or
6
something?
foot.
Like,
She's like
yeah,
5'11",
she
6
is
foot.
a tall lady.
She will fuck you up.
Tall lady.
And she played lacrosse.
Yes.
Twice.
Yes.
Violence is in her
Twice.
future.
And
Yeah,
she coaches
twice.
it on
She
a
does.
regular basis.
Yeah,
So
don't fuck with Danger, because you got us to deal with.
yeah, because I'm little, but I fight like a leprechaun.
Come here, I'll fight you with one
I only
arm
do
behind
that
me
'cause
back.
of the Fighting Irish. Yeah.
Mullen
So
starts
seriously, though.
barking.
Yeah, right.
No big deal. Yes, you have some updates for us next, I believe, for the fantasy hockey, and then obscure player of the week.
Indeed,
I'll let you
so
take over.
we have officially wrapped up the regular season of the first ever Pucked Up League. It is a wrap. Our final games. Danger. You unfortunately lost to your son.
I lost twice to him. I think I beat him the first time we played, and then I've lost to him the other 2 or 3 times we played.
Hey, you know what? I lost to him too. It's fine.
That's what it is.
D beat Drew 114-74. Wes beat John 87-79. Marcello beat Maul by 0.3 points. How crazy is that?
That is
Pretty
insane.
wild. Pretty fucking wild.
Where'd you go? Oh, there he is. I was like, where'd you go? And I beat Dave. After Dave was beating me all week, I came back to beat Dave 122-96.
Nice.
To show our
That was
final
fun.
standings for the regular season, I had a record of 21-1. The next closest would be D, which she was 17-5. Drew finished 14-8. Wes finished 13-9. Marcello 10-12, which is a big bounce back for him. And Matt finished 7-15. John, obviously on the other side, 8-13. Dave finished with a 7-15 record, which is kind of impressive considering I don't know if Dave's ever actually watched a full hockey game in his life. Maul, you finished with a record of 6-15-1.
Yep, it was fantastic. A
and
record, you'd call it.
Danger, unfortunately, was at the
Suck
bottom of the
it
league this
up.
year. Hey, listen,
That's all
you
right.
know what? No one
Save
was
the
fucking
best
worse
for
than
last.
you, and that right there, you should be proud of that. Ain't no motherfucker worse than your team this year. You held that basement down.
Hey, you're beating me right now
Mm.
in the consolidation ladder, so
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we now
And
move on
never mind
to...
the fact that I moved and dealt with a lot of shit at the beginning of this season.
That's all right.
You know.
So, this week, we start off with the winner's bracket, aka the playoffs. So, I am up against Wes currently, and D is currently getting her ass whooped by Drew. But those are the winner of that goes on to the finals, which I believe is a 2-week of it goes from March 31st to April 6th. The consolation ladder, which is something that I think is fun that ESPN does. This way, everyone can still play fantasy in some aspect. John and Marcello are facing. Maul and Danger are facing as well, and Dave is facing Matt. I don't know how the winners or how the bracket goes there. I think you guys play winners or something. I'm not quite sure. But
I don't know.
I'm pulling for D to win here because I want to face D in the finals. Because I'm also currently blowing out Wes. So anything can happen. But that's my like hope is that it's
Right.
D and I next year and this year and next year. I hope our playoff teams are the 4 of us in the pod. That would be fun.
I know I'll do a hell of a lot better. I can only get better.
You both can only
me
get
too.
better. And yeah, both of you had
Or stay the
decent
same.
teams.
I can't get any worse. So
That's true.
Chris
You
can get
literally
worse.
can't. I can
Right.
get worse. I can go the other way.
You know,
Yeah.
I know we talked about this, last week or 2 weeks ago. First thing I have to do is draft people that are actually going to play in the NHL.
And don't leave Don't leave every good player available for me when it gets to me.
And I don't need 6 goalies.
No, nope, just 2. Just 2. That's all you need.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious to see how the playoffs are going to go here.
Right.
I
Me
don't
too.
have a trivia question, but I have a trivia fact for you that will tie in
Okay.
to our wonderful, obscure NHL Player of the Week. That one was on back order. It took like 3 to 5 business days to get here.
It's like, damn, you struggled with
fair.
that. Would you wish those?
I did, yeah. It was from Temu.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
Ally Express.
Yeah, AliExpress.
So our player of the week this week is a man by the name. Hold on.
Grandma, we don't need any more medicine.
Oh shit! No, Damian Lillard, who's an NBA player, has developed a deep vein thrombosis, which is a blood clot in his right calf.
Yep.
Holy
Mhm.
shit!
They're
hope
very
I hope-
common.
I hope Lillard's all right. That shit's scary.
Yeah,
Our-
it's scary, but
Yeah.
they're very common.
Okay, Grandma, maybe we need you for this.
I know the one fucking time my grandmother hasn't called me yet. Our player this week is a man by the name of Eric Bolton. Born in Halifax, Nova Scotia, this left-handed left winger was drafted 234th overall in the 1994 NHL draft by the New York Rangers. He proceeded to play 654 games in the show, with a career that lasted from 2000 until 2016. 31 goals, 48 assists with 1,421 penalty minutes. He is the all-time franchise leader in penalty minutes. For what team?
The team still exists, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We've talked about that team in this podcast.
We've talked about a lot of teams in this podcast.
Say, what team haven't we talked about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like we've put over how good this team is this year. I'll give you a hint.
Winnipeg
Montreal.
Jets.
Winnipeg Jets. Do you want to know here's a fun trivia fact. Eric Bolton never played a single game for the Winnipeg Jets.
Damn. I can believe
And
it.
he's the all-time leader in franchise penalty minutes.
Because he came from a different, or played for a different team. and
Because
they're
he
friends, or
played-
they became.
He played 6 seasons with the Atlanta Thrashers,
Yeah. Who became
So-
the Winnipeg Jets, right?
which is like the other fun fact that I always love bringing up because it's fucking crazy. But the all-time leader in goals for the Winnipeg Jets is Ilya Kovalchuk, who also never played a game for the Winnipeg Jets.
Can you imagine
That's so
Played for
funny.
the Thrashers.
not having that goal broken?
I mean, I feel like by now
Right.
it probably has been. If I remember correctly, I don't know. I feel like that has changed. I do want to double check on that. Franchise records. I would say that I believe it hasn't changed. Mark Scheifele is the only person who can be close enough. He is at 297 goals. Ilya Kovalchuk had 328. Blake Wheeler
Okay.
leads in points. But yeah, that's nuts. Two all-time stats of players who never played for that fucking franchise. He played for a few teams in his career, if it'll go back. There we go. He played for the Buffalo Sabres, Atlanta Thrashers, New Jersey Devils, and New York Islanders. He was drafted by the Rangers, but never played for the Rangers in the NHL. He retired. Where was it? He retired in 2015, 2016, played 6 games, no goals, no assists, 2 penalty minutes. There was a big issue in October 2005. Bolton was suspended for 6 games after elbowing Tampa Bay Lightning rookie Paul Ranger, causing a hairline fracture to his jaw and a concussion. The incident occurred at the end of a 6-0 rout of the Thrashers. NHL Vice President at the time, Colin Campbell, said, "It is clear Mr. Bolton's actions were careless and caused injury. There is no circumstance that justify this type of action. Only a week earlier, Bolton had made a similar move in a game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, almost injuring former player Eric Lindros." It's nuts, but he still, I believe, has some sort of affiliation working with the New York Islanders in a scouting role. But yeah, I thought that was a fun little stat because it's not often you hear about a guy who leads a franchise that he never played for.
Wild.
Yeah.
That does sound obscure.
So thank you, Eric Bolton, for
Isn't
being
that-
our obscure NHL player of the week.
Yes. And thank you, Chris, for bringing that to our attention. Yeah. Well, that there done be our show for today. Thank you again for joining us for this ride. As we start, actually, the ride into playoffs and the wild card and all of that. So don't forget to follow us on social media, like, share, comment, whatever forum you're listening and or watching this on lets you do. Also share your picks for the wild card slots. If there's especially any sleeper picks that you think are coming up, let us know. I'm curious. But until next time, I am Danger. And I just want to remind everybody to stay safe, keep your stick on the ice, and we'll see you next time in the Face-Off Circle.